Folks, I am here with an incredible man who is doing incredible things all over the world. We're talking today about an elite career. Welcome to the show, Don.
Well, thank you, Kerry. Awesome to be here with you once again.
Well, listen, we are live streaming all over the place, and this is going to be shared on Facebook. Tanisha, if you can connect that would be awesome. We have LinkedIn, Twitter, all over the place. So, Don, let's jump right in and talk about the book itself. What is this book about?
Yeah, thanks, Kerry. So the book, as obviously is titled "Building an Elite Career," and in a way, it's a follow-up book to my first book that we worked on, a couple years back now, Building an Elite Organization. But this book's a bit different in that Building an Elite Organization was a book that I wrote centered around really talking to the CEOs, the senior leaders who are growing, entrepreneurial, high-growth organizations. This book is written to the team members, the employees, those building their career inside of elite organizations. And certainly the book's, talks, hence the title, about career and growing professionally. But the book's equally focused on, personal development and we call living fully and building an incredible life while building an outstanding career. And so really, really excited about it. It now is the first book that all new team members at DLP read, and those at many of the organizations we get to work with who are building elite organizations, who are making an impact by building companies and creating jobs. And this is the path, whether your organization's running what we call the elite execution system or not. If you're in a company that's moving fast, that's got lots of change going on, that's growing, that's disrupting, that's kind of the whole world today, the whole world of volatility today, where many industries are in. This is a book for you.
Listen, man, you already have people jumping in on LinkedIn saying they want to work with DLP Capital. So I'm sure your team will come back and help some people there. But why do you think? I mean, listen, you're doing such big stuff. I mean, my buddy Jim Shields is talking about you. My buddy, we got the lifestyle investor Justin Donald's talking about you all the time. So what are you doing that's causing so much goodness down in Florida?
Well, thank you. Yeah, and as you said, we're in St. Augustine, Florida. That's where I'm talking here from today, which is where we're headquartered and where I live. And our company, as you said, DLP Capital, is a private financial services and investment company focused on building thriving communities. So our purpose is Dream, Live, Prosper, which is what DLP stands for, positively making extraordinary impact and transforming lives by building thriving communities. And so what we specifically do is we invest capital into building thriving communities, building places that are affordable for working families to live and invest in their family and build great community. And we do that as a lender, financing other great developers and operators. We do so directly as a developer, as an operator, and a bunch of other things around that. One of our recent things since we last talked is we actually bought a bank this past year and are able to now build thriving communities, invest in communities by providing true community banking. Here in Florida is where we're headquartered in our bank, which today is called Community State Bank of Florida, soon to be called DLP Bank. And so doing a lot of exciting things, getting to impact the lives of many great team members here, building elite careers at DLP, many great business owners that we get to work with, sponsors, developers, operators that we get to impact, not only the CEO and leader, but their whole teams, and helping their team members step up and lead and grow and make an impact. And it's been an incredible, fun journey that we know we're just getting started on. And we know we're just getting started because we know when we have team members, which we have, all said and done, about 700 here across DLP who have this kind of focus. Yeah, 700. So who have this kind of focus, who are building elite careers, building great lives. When you do that at the center of everything you do, we know that's going to accelerate and grow our organization, grow our impact, allow us to 10x, 100x, the impact we get to make today. So it's a lot of fun, a whole lot of fun we're having.
Wow. Well, I know we did that amazing interview with your first book, and that book did incredibly well. Wall Street Journal bestseller, and has just gone on to impact so many people. So this was about you, as you mentioned, it was about you training and helping other organizations. And now you're taking a deeper look at the actual individual. Is this correct?
Yep, absolutely.
And could a CEO read this, or is it really for their team, or is it for both?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I'd say, as you said, building the organization was written to not just CEOs, but kind of senior leaders, those really responsible for driving the strategy and direction of an organization. So the book itself was on building the organization, or is on the elite execution system, which is an operating system, a set of tools and principles to be able to build a high growth organization. It's the set of tools that we run at DLP that's allowed us to grow by more than 50% in revenue growth every year for 17 straight years, allowed us to be Inc. 5000 11 years in a row, and has helped many other really great organizations, scale their impact and not just grow quickly, but grow profitably. And this second book, Building Elite Career, is written, as you said, to the team member, but I think it would be a big miss for CEOs, for business leaders, not to read the book that you'd be recommending your team members to read, that you'd want your employees to follow, and being most successful and create the biggest impact in your organization, make the biggest impact on your clients as well. So absolutely is a book that business leaders should read as well. And would be the right book, though, if you're a leader in an organization, you say, man, I just wish my team members would get it. I wish my team members would understand how to use these tools. I wish, I could help people, be more successful in their work and in their lives. And this is the book for them to read, and getting them to take all the big picture principles of building an elite organization and apply that to their own personal life, to try to bridge that gap. As a CEO, it can certainly be done, and we've been doing it here. I've been doing it at DLP, but it takes a lot of work and a lot of structure. This book shortcuts that, and it's talking directly to your team members, putting them in a position to be successful in their career and in life, whether you're already running the lead execution system or not, or whether you're running EOS in your business, or Vern Harnish's system, or not running any kind of structured system, but just you want your people to understand how to take ownership, how to execute, how to make decisions, how to solve issues, how to prioritize what's most important. If those things are important, which for any leader of an organization they should be, this is a book you'd want your team members to read.
I love it. I love it. You got people jumping in here. Somebody just recently relocated to Jacksonville, and they want to reach out. So we know that even in this live stream, there's a lot of people reaching out to you as well. Don, what do you think success is? I mean, it's, I've written a bunch of books. You've written books now. When you look back 6 months, 12 months from now, and you say, listen, that was a good book. There's certain benchmarks like bestsellers, but then there's also the life impact. What do you hope somebody says about this book?
Yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful question. And I'd say, and where I thought you were going with the first part of that question is, just in general, what is success? And to me, what is success is when you're achieving, what you want, moving towards your purpose, achieving your mission, your life, achieving whatever it is you want out of your life and all the areas of your life at the same time. And we call it living fully, and we break it down to there's 8 F's of life: faith, family, friends, freedom, fun, fulfillment, fitness, and finance. And I believe, and that's a big part of what this book's about, I believe that even if you're really motivated and focused on building your career right now, even if you're young in that journey, and you want to take over the world, and you want to grow and do amazing things in your career, I believe in today's world and today's technology and ability for most of us to be able to kind of work from anywhere and be productive even later in the evening once you're home, or while you're traveling, you better can integrate all the areas of life unlike any time in past history. I consider it work-life integration, not work-life balance.
Ooh, that's good.
And I think Jeff Bezos came out a couple of years ago and said he thinks the work-life balance is a debilitating term. He said it's not a one or the other. It's like a circle. It's integrating it all together, which is exactly how we think about it when we talk about it in building an elite career. And so for me, success in this book is helping people recognize and realize that you can have it all. It's harder, it takes more discipline and more structure, but you can be a great father and husband, wife, leader in your church, great golfer, whatever the priorities are to you, while building an elite career, while growing in your career, while moving up, while accomplishing more, while increasing your income, while gaining skills and knowledge and influence. You can do all at the same time while taking care of your health, while having a relationship with the Lord, while doing whatever the things that are important to you in your life. And they don't have to be at conflict. They can be integrated together. And I think that's a thing that a lot of people get confused about. Everybody in today's world talks a lot about, work-life balance. And when we do these events and we do different trainings, so the number one question we always want to ask me about is, how do you balance the priorities? And everybody feels they don't have enough time. And the way I always think about it is, we all have the exact same amount of time, right? You and I have the same amount of time as Jeff Bezos, to stick to that example, right? And yet we all know there's different people in this world who are accomplishing, a lot more in those same 24 hours in the day, right? Than others are. And I'll start with saying, the average American spends something like 6 hours a day between television and social media, yet feel they don't have enough time, right? It's about prioritizing what's most important in your life. And that often means not doing things that maybe you like doing or you enjoy doing, to focus on what really is most meaningful, brings you the most fulfillment and joy to your life and to those you love and care about. And not just choosing what you're going to focus on, but who you're going to focus on and who you're going to do life with. And again, I believe you can accomplish the goals you have across all the areas of your life at the same time, having not just success, but significance, fulfillment, and joy in your life. And in the book, we actually go through what we call the 5 keys to a life of success, significance, and happiness, and which are really choices or commitments that you make across the areas of your life that can put you in the position to, quote unquote, have it all at the same time. Doesn't mean it's easy. Doesn't mean there's not a lot of hard days. Doesn't mean you're not going to have to do work or things that you don't love doing. But you're doing it because it's moving you towards the things that are most meaningful in your life.
Wow, that is so good. I once heard somebody say, you can't do everything, but you can do many things, meaning, we got to have some boundaries. I love your analogy. I've never heard that before about the integrated life. I often teach people when I hear the question, how do I have balance? I bring somebody up on the stage. I say, stand on one foot. They stand on one foot. And I say, okay, I'm going to start handing you different priorities. And then I start handing them all these priorities and they're holding them and they're stressing out, right? The body's stressed. And then I say, now how much progress are you making forward? And they're not, because you cannot make progress while you're perfectly balanced. So let me ask you a question, Don. I love that integrated life concept. Are there ever times that you, and maybe it's every day, but do you ever have to go out of balance to make a step forward? Like, do you crush it at times at work, but then have an extended holiday with your family? Like, or are you sitting there every day being like, I spent 0.5 hours with Alex, or, how does it work for you practically?
Yeah, I think it's a great question to a level, certain seasons in our lives, but I think it comes down to, as much as anything, you deciding what's most important in your life today, right? And so one of the tools we use, we call a life assessment, and it's a free tool that's on DLPelite.com, and we talk about it in the book. And it's a simple tool for you to go through these 8 F's of life that we call it: faith, family, friends, freedom, fun, fulfillment, fitness, and finance, and evaluate how are you doing today against how you grade yourself in these areas. And then when you go, exactly, and then you go and set goals. Once first you know where you stand today in your life, then you set the goals in the areas of your life that you want to improve. And there may be different seasons of your life. I say this, sort of half joking, but somebody well who led kind of this book launch on the DLP side, Patrick. Patrick is has a if they had the term 10-pack he would have a 10-pack, right? He doesn't have a 6-pack. He has an 8-pack, and he's a CrossFitter. He's in incredible shape. He leads our Fit Life program at DLP, and is very focused on health and nutrition and so forth, right? So Patrick could come in and assess his life and say, "Hi, I'm a 10 in my health and my fitness and my well-being," and he may not need to put a lot of focus. He may be able to coast a little bit there this next year because he's got everything in order there, right? He's built the habits and routines that take care of himself. He doesn't need to put a lot of time and energy behind that today to stay in what most would consider really great shape and have be focused on longevity and such. And he can put more focus on his career, which he's launching a business right now, and he could put more focus in different areas, right? He could say, "Hey, my kids are going through a season where they need more of my time right now," and he can decide that that's a priority in this next year to spend more of his time than he normally would, focused on maybe his teenage son, right? And that's okay, right? It's you determining what do you need right now in your life. Where do you need to put more time and energy, and where do you not need as much time and energy? And that'll certainly change over time. But if he feels, "Hey, yeah, I'm not putting as much time to my health and fitness right now, but I know I'm where I need to be there. I'm comfortable with where I am." That's okay, right? It's so much of success in life is our own perception on, are we focused on what's important to us? Are we achieving the goals we want? Are we moving our life in the direction we want? So much of that is our own perception of how we're doing, right? If we feel, "Hey, I'm not taking care of my health. I'm not being as good of a father as I could be. I'm not, as engaged and loving of a husband as I'd like to be. I haven't opened up the Bible this past year. I haven't been showing up to church. I'm not in scripture enough." And if you have that feeling of guilt that you're not doing these things, that's when most, of us, really struggle, right? If we made the conscious decisions to say, "Hey, at this season, and I'm not going to do as much, I'm not going to be able to spend as much time with my wife," as an example. Well, if you made the decision and then you went home and talk to your wife and you guys got aligned and were in agreement that, "Hey, right now we're going to have to give up some of the date nights we've been doing or whatnot because I got to put my head down for this new product launch," or whatever, right? If the people you love are in alignment with the goals that you have in your life and understand and are on board, that may be perfectly fine, right? And so that's kind of the rhythm. That's certainly a change over time, but my belief is so many of the things that are important to us, right? Staying in decent shape or improving our health or having a great relationship with our spouse or being a good father or mother. Believe it or not, these things, to do a pretty good job in these areas, don't take that much time, right? They just take some intentional rhythms in our life, right? For me and my wife, having 15 minutes of one-on-one conversation each day, right, is a very simple, small amount of time, 15 minutes, the simple rhythm that helps us stay on track, right? When we're running hard and got a lot of things going on, have a 2-year-old, and that 15 minutes of just, "Hey, we're going to find an opportunity to talk for 15 minutes, look each other in the face, talk. I'm going to actually listen. I'm not looking at my phone. I'm not also on my computer," right? That's a small little rhythm, can make all the difference, right? Going on a date night every other Friday, simple few-hour rhythm, right, can be all the difference of feeling, "Hey, I'm in alignment with my wife," or feeling way out of balance and feeling guilty and distracted when you're focused on other areas of your life.
So good. Wow. So I think there's got to be some people here who are curious. You didn't just wake up one day and get 700 people to join a team and start a bank and create communities. Where did these big ideas come from? Like, how long ago? Have you just were you just born thinking big? What happened?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, great question. And so I grew up. Quick note: I grew up two parents who had me at 16 years old, and my mom ran a home daycare almost my entire childhood. My father was a correction officer, prison guard most of my childhood. No entrepreneurs in my family. So where kind of the initial kind of confidence and thinking big and so forth came from, I don't really know. Where it came at a very early age. My dad told the story at my wedding that, when I was in first grade, I got in trouble for selling little Hostess donuts to my classmates. And he told the story that's when he knew I'd be an entrepreneur, and that kind of entrepreneurial desire and big thinking continued all the way through my childhood. And so, running businesses even in middle school and things like that. But so I don't know where it came at an early age, but and part of what what I talk about in the book, and a lot of what I've focused on, my children is, a couple of the 5 keys to a life of success, significance, happiness. 2 of them are grit and a growth mindset. And I spent a lot of time in the beginning teaching my kids about grit and trying to instill grit in my sons. And I spent a lot of time over the last few years on growth mindset. And I think that big picture thinking is what growth mindset is about, or in other words, the belief that if I'm willing to work hard enough and learn hard enough, I can do anything, right? And having the belief, not falling into the trap that so many of us fall into, that says, "Oh, I'm just not good at that. Oh, I just don't have that experience. Oh, I don't have that advantage." But if you believe, which, Carol Dweck wrote a great book called Mindset, which is where the concept growth mindset comes from, which was, mind shifting to me to really think about, because I sort of naturally had a growth mindset and always had this belief that I could do anything because I knew I'd outwork anybody. And I remember in 8th grade, I knew I was going to be a financial advisor. And I started shadowing financial advisors in 8th grade. After my 2nd or 3rd day of following around a financial advisor with a notepad, taking lots of notes, and realizing he didn't realize a lot of things I realized, and he wasn't following up on the sister who just retired and things that I was following up on. I knew in 8th grade I could do that person's job, not better. I knew I could do it in 8th grade better, is what I believe, right? And I just believed, hey, I'm willing to listen, I'm willing to learn, I'm willing to work really hard. And unfortunately, too many people don't have that belief, right? They set these own limiting ceilings to what they can do, and have self-doubts and confidence issues and so forth. So for good, and maybe it's sometimes bad, I've always had a really high level of confidence that I, in my own work ethic and ability to learn. And that, spurred me as a child. And then when I entered real estate, sort of stumbled into real estate at 20 years old, I'd be fibbing to you if I said, hey, I had this great vision that DLP would be what it is today, and we'd have all these different divisions, and we'd have all these people working here, and this is what it would look like. Certainly didn't have that vision. Just had the mindset of a growth mindset. Hey, I'm willing to work really hard. I'm willing to learn. And then I learned very early on by reading lots of great books. Many of those books I reference in my own, from the greats, from the Jim Collins to Vern Harnish's, to Gino Wickman's, to John Maxwell's, et cetera. Learned a lot of there's some of the different books that we read and we've read as an organization. By reading and learning and having that mindset, I learned very early on that all businesses that are successful, what they do is they solve problems, and they find problems that people have, and they come up with solutions. And by having that mindset, as I entered real estate and came across a new problem, a new issue that people were dealing with, we then kind of built a product or a service around that. And that just naturally graduated into the business lines we're in today, just finding ways to solve, people's problems. And for us, that's mainly around solving, providing, attainable housing to working families, providing housing that is and remain affordable. And that's evolved and changed on how we do that as we've scaled over the years.
That's so good. These books, I've read many of them. They are fantastic. This one popped out at me because he's one of our authors, but Tim Elmore, great guy.
Yeah.
You know Tim or not? Not Tim?
I do. Yeah. Yeah. We had Tim as a speaker at an event with our leadership event in May. Tim came and spent a day or so with us. And
did he speak on the generational diversity?
A little bit, yeah, he did. Yeah, it was part of his talk there, which is part of his 8 paradoxes of great leadership, and he's wonderful. And he's of course a descendant of the great John Maxwell, and who I'm an enormous fan of. If you want to grow as a leader, I believe the 5 Levels of Leadership by John Maxwell is the greatest book written on leadership.
Wow, look at that, folks.
21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership is pretty great as well. But Tim Elmore's an awesome guy.
There you go. Top left, man. Top left.
Yep.
Well, this is great. In fact, you can't fabricate this compliment here. I gotta land the plane soon, but with this quote, this is an amazing quote. I work for Don for 7.5 years. He's the most driven, inspiring, and influential employer I've ever worked for in my career. He has taught me how to live fully, maintain a balanced life, or as we'd say, integrated life, and still have a successful career. You can achieve anything you dream of as long as you have grit, hard work, and a desire to achieve. How does that feel, man? Because I know that we can impact customers and clients, but what do you say to that when somebody comments as a team member?
Well, first, thank you, Terry. Very, very kind. I see your Facebook picture there. It looks like you're certainly living fully. I love it. But yeah, very, very kind, Terry. And yeah, it's what's about, right. And so the book, we have a group here at DLP we call, which is where some of those books you were highlighting were from. We call Driven for Greatness, and it's essentially been a book club that we've been running for about 13 years at DLP. We meet every other Thursday, 8:15 a.m. and we read a different book together, and we have a different team member who leads us through that discussion around that book. And we provide all of our employees at DLP access to Libro, which is like Audible, but Audible no longer has business accounts. Libro does, which, as a note, as you know, Gary, soon the book will be available on Audible and Libro and such. I recorded it a couple months ago. We're just waiting on it to become live. So excited for that. But being a part of a group like that and having the great value of reading and learning has been awesome. And the book we're reading right now, or I should rephrase that, the book we're about to start reading is called by Jeff Henderson, For You.
Oh yeah, I know that one. I know that one.
For You. Let me double check that that's the right title.
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, For You by Jeff
on the front. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a really, really, really great book. And the point I'm making is, Terry's note there, it starts with your team members, your employees, right? If you're for your employees and you treat them like they're your very first client, your most important client, that's how they're going to treat your clients, right? And and too many organizations miss that. So yeah, the first opportunity I have with this book specifically, and everything we do at DLP is to try to make an impact on the lives of the people who work here. And if we do that effectively and we make a difference in their lives, the same lessons, the same tools and resources are gonna do similar things for your organization, as well.
I love it. I got to take a picture for Jeff here. Jeff's a client too. So we love him, man. He is really good. Do you know he used to be at Chick-fil-A in their market? Yeah, you know that. Perfect.
Oh yeah.
Well, listen, man, Don, last minute, what would you like to tell people?
Well, I would just say, pick up the book, no matter where you're at in your career, it'll add value to your career, add value to your life. Lots and lots of free tools that Carrie showed at dlpelite.com. You can download related to this book and to the first book, Building an Elite Organization. You can download the book right now on Amazon, 99 cents right now. So please do. And then in the near future, as I said, the audio version will be out as well. But appreciate you jumping on with those. Appreciate the opportunity. And this is a book not only you'll want to read for yourself, but if you've got a child or a friend or family member in the stage of building their career, building their story, this is a great book, for anybody in that place of wanting to grow in their career and their life. Listen,
Don, we are so excited, man. This is a great work you're doing in Florida, and so glad God connected us. I'm thrilled to know about your whole integrated life, and this elite career is going to do amazing things for people. So thanks for being here today, Don.
Well, thank you, Kerry. Appreciate it very much. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you. We'll see ya.